And Matt, I was walking around. There was a few vendors that are coming up to me, and I do have vendors come up to me and say, Mark, can you recruit for us, etc. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not a technology expert, but I can't even differentiate them half the time. What the technology is and if they're a good company or not. And every company's good at painting the story.
Yeah.
But if you're a candidate now in the market and you're an experienced person in security, and I said to you, Matt, you've got to go and find a job. There's 350 vendors at InfoSec, but there's over 3,000 vendors in security. How the hell are you going to pick a vendor and a company for your next new job if you need to go into a new job?
It's tough. So I can answer that. I'll maybe look at what's made my career decisions, and I touched upon it. So it's worthwhile touching that the market's changed as well. So if you rewind post-COVID, life was all about growth, and all you heard, and by the way, I've got lots of great friends that are at CrowdStrike and the Endpoint vendors, so I'm using these as an example. Endpoint was all about your growth. Hey, we're growing at 50% a year, 100% year on year, 100% year on year. And then we're getting crazy valuations, right? We're valued at 15, 20x our revenue. So if you're doing 100 million, you're valued at 1.5 billion, you're doing it 500 million, you go do the maths. Crazy valuations. That was cool. For the market's changed now. None of us are naive enough to see the market hasn't changed. So now valuations and investment are based upon kind of often this thing called the rule of 40. And the rule of 40 is, in a real high level area, is we want you to be doing 40 of something. What do you mean, Matt? Well, rewind 4 or 5 years ago. If you're growing 40%, it's fine. Forget the fact that you're losing 300 million a year because your burn rate. What I mean by burn rate is you've got 1,000 staff growing at 40% year on year, but you're losing 200 million a year. But it's all right. Eventually, you'll have enough customers that you'll stop earning money, you'll stop losing money, and you'll start making profit. CrowdStrike are there right now, for example, but it's taken them a long time, right? Now the market's changed. We said actually profitability is king, cash is king, back to the old cash is king way. So now if you're looking for a vendor and I'm looking for my next role, I'm looking, okay, what's their profitability? What's their growth rate? Whereas 5 years ago, it was just what they're growing at. So now the rule of 40 is, are you doing, I'd rather you do 20% growth, but you're 20% profitable, which means you're financially secure, which means you're not spending money on huge stands at InfoSec for no apparent reason, right? You're not marketing the heck out of yourself because you need to buy revenue. You're investing your money into product and support and R&D. So the companies that are getting the biggest valuations now are the guys that are profitable and growing. They have a nice mix. Matter of fact, if you've got a rule of 50, i.e., let's say 30% profitability, 10% growth, or 25, you're getting valued even more. And that's a big shift. So for me, I look at financial security and things like that. And some of the publicly listed companies out there, if you look at their share price, and just feel free to Google it, Cybereason's the best one. They were valued at $3 billion not too long ago. They're currently valued, I think, about 400 million. That's a kick in the stomach.
90% drop, basically.
That's huge because they're not profitable, you would argue. Because their reoccurring revenue, their renewal isn't that good. So it's tough. So I would recommend if anyone's looking for a job, A, you need to be passionate, first of all, about what you're selling. Secondly, just do the due diligence. There's loads of great stuff out there. Heck, I'll even answer some questions if you want. Go and look at what their financial stability is. What's the VC? What's the PE? What are they good at? How can they help and guide you? But also, you've got to enjoy it, right? Going and working for a startup is really hard work. It's back to old school, 12 hours a day. How do you be creative? You need to be a good storyteller, right? And the company you need to work with has got a good story as well. So it's tough. But the market's changed, and it's quite interesting to see how the market's changed. And I think it will stay like this, by the way. Profitability is now more important than growth.
What about some of the big vendors that weren't at InfoSec? Paolo's, the Fortinets. Some of these other companies are just not turning up there now. Why is that?
I think there's a lot of events. It's like, you get event fatigue. I think we've gone from no events in COVID to now big events. And don't get me wrong, customers are showing more. I think there were 14,000 people that went to InfoSec.
Is that good?
It's not bad because it was Excel and everyone hates Excel.
Yeah.
Right? Let's talk about Wiz, for example. Wiz, a good friend of mine, Rob Finn, hello Rob, runs Wiz. And I pinged him and said, hey, dude, you're not at InfoSec, why not? His response was, we were at AWS last week, we're at GCP whenever, I'm at these events. And actually, you've got to think about now what's the relevance of events. InfoSec is every piece of tech in the cyber industry, backup availability, intrusion detection, endpoint, Whereas a lot of the cloud-only vendors, they're going to go to cloud-only events, and they cost a lot of money. So fundamentally, go back to this profitability thing I've spoken about. We don't want to be losing 200-300 million a year. We want to be profitable. So the events I need to go to properly and in a as much ROI as I can. So cloud security vendors are maybe not spending all their money at InfoSec. They're maybe going to cloud-specific events like the AWS, the GCPs, the Microsoft type days. That's probably one of the reasons why, which I look at.
Let's talk about partner programs, Matt, because I have lots of guests in the studio and they all talk about how great the partner program is and how much they add value and yada, 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 yada. And I looked at my marketing collateral for this topic and they said, the Envision partner program. And I thought, shall I be polite or shall I just ask him, what is the difference between all these partner programs? So you tell me, Envision partner program. What is that? Why is it so different to someone else's partner program?
Well, first of all, you made a statement a minute ago, which is quite funny. Every partner says their partner program is best. Everybody that says that is a liar. Partner programs are all the same.
Can't say that live.
They're all liars. I mean, a partner program is a partner program. They're all the same.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, can you sit here and tell me one organisation that's absolutely smashing the way we work with channel? You can't, right? A partner program is about your investment. If you invest in us, we'll invest in you in some way. The first thing is, how do you invest in us? Technical enablement, sales enablement. And if you do that, I'm going to give you a discount on list price. No one buys a list price deal anymore now. So, hey, well done, XYZ partner. You've got technically trained, fantastic. You get 40% off our list price. The reality is no one sells at list price. So then that kind of argument's out of the way. I actually asked my team this a few days ago. I'm quite lucky that I run international. So I've got APJ as well as EMEA. So you get a good view of what's going on in Japan, what's going on in Singapore versus what's going on in Germany and what's going on in Finland. And I said, well, what are we doing differently? Why do people like to us? And it's about localization. It's about trust. I would rather our partner program rewards people that invest in us. We don't want to be a services company. So we're never going to go services. We're 100% channel. And that's absolutely true. But how do we differentiate ourselves? I'm going to say something controversial. I would rather pay somebody more margin on a renewal than they will on net new business. And we do that. Well, why is that? Well, we get a lot of transactional partners that come along because maybe they're selling at the cheapest cost plus. So you could have a big multinational organisation that has 5 or 6 partners. They go out for quote and a partner wins because they're at cost plus 4 with them. Cool. I'd rather pay that partner more on the renewal because it means they've serviced the account the right way. They've ensured that the product they bought is being deployed because they're renewing it. They've ensured customer success. So I'd rather go to a partner and actually say, we're going to pay you more on the renewal than we will on the new business. As a matter of fact, I'm going to give you more margin because it means...
Do you though?
We do.
Do you pay? You actually pay more renewals than you do a net new business for a partner?
Right now, randomly, yes.
Right.
And was that intentional? I don't really know. But if you look at us as a vendor, we've got what's called 122% NRR. So again, not to get down the understanding the world that we're in now, NRR is net recurring revenue. So in other words, if a customer buys something from us, in a year's time, the $100 they spend is probably 122. Reason being, we tend to find more than they think, so they buy extra licenses, or they might buy more product. Oh, great, we really like that. We actually want this from you because you've deployed and we want vendor consolidation, you're providing good value. So if I've got a partner that's helped on that deployment, I want to reward them because if they win, I win. So yeah, I mean, to answer the question, all partner programs fundamentally are equal. It depends on how you implement them. We've not gone mainstream. We've said, well, let's concentrate on 5 or 6 core focus partners. Let's make sure that they make money out of it. If they want to do services, it's our job to enable them to do services and make sure they're delivered to the best of their ability. Because I don't want to go and have a services bench that's cost me $1 million a year in wage in each country. I want the partner to do it. And then more importantly, let's make sure that the partner's in it for us long term. So in other words, they're making money year 2, year 3. Whereas I know a lot of other vendors, they've said the renewals are gimme. You make 4% in the renewal, tough. Why? Well, the customer's going to renew because we're doing a great job. Actually, I'd rather do it the other way around. Because we know that our customers are going to buy more, I want the resellers to make more. So that's maybe the way I've looked at it, and that's working really well.